What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. Sorry about that. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here. I'm also proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. She is a color commentary sideline reporter for ESPN Plus. She's also done some work with Coastal Carolina University as well as a sports reporter. Her name is Joanne Bethea. And we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into sports journalism and also get to know her outside of her occupation. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Joanne Bethea.
There we go.
Hello there. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful, Joanne. I just want to say you look absolutely lovely today.
Thank you. As lovely as I can be for 9:30 at night.
Absolutely,
On a
absolutely. I will
Tuesday.
take it. I will take it for sure. Absolutely, no doubt. Just want to say thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. How has your week been starting off, and also how was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was really good. I'm actually right now at my parents' house, and this is where we had Thanksgiving. We had 50 people come over, so very large Thanksgiving. My dad is the youngest of six, and all of them came, plus all of their children, so all of my cousins, plus their spouses, plus some of their in-laws. So we had a crew. This week hasn't been too crazy, just getting some scheduling done yesterday. That's usually how my Mondays go, is just reaching out to different SIDs, seeing what athletes are available, stuff like that. So not too crazy so far.
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. I love that. I want to reiterate to you, Joanne, why I wanted to have you on here. And that's because I know you do color commentary and sideline reporting for ESPN Plus. I know you've done that with Coastal Carolina as well. And I'm even certain that you probably have done something of the sort when you was at Clemson back in your undergrad days.
Mhm.
I'm a journalist myself, um, based out of Minnesota here. I'm a freelance journalist now, but I worked in different publications in Atlanta, Georgia, where I got my undergrad at. And I
Mhm.
also have done that here in Minnesota as well. So I love talking to different people in this industry and talking about their why, right? Everybody has a story to tell. Your story is just as special as anyone else's. And I love to hear about people's stories because they're so different. People are different, and everybody's path is different that gets into this business. So I am very thankful that you said yes to coming on to my podcast and talking about
Yeah, absolutely. I know how viable it is in this industry to have connections and make relationships and just hear about everybody's experience, because I feel like no two journalists or reporters experiences are the same. I used to say that when I was an undergrad, that that's one thing that's really tough about this business, is it's not like becoming a doctor. Everybody, you go somewhere, you major in biology, you go to med school, you become a doctor.
it.
That's not how it is in broadcasting and journalism. There's so many different things that you can do. Um,
Right.
awesome, but also can be intimidating. So I always like to be able to help people any way that I can.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. And do you want to be called Joanne or Joe?
Joanne, yeah.
Joanne, okay, just want to make sure. Got you. All right. So with that being said, my first question is the same with everybody that comes on my podcast. What is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models growing up? Did you have any inspirations growing up? But ultimately, what is your why of getting into sports journalism?
So my love of sports started with my father. He played football at Clemson. He actually was on their first national championship team. So I grew up going to Clemson games, going to reunions, because that was before, obviously, they won the one in 2016 and then in 2018. So for the longest time, from the time I was born till 17, 18, my dad was on the team that was the only championship team for Clemson football. And I just loved being around college football. And I mean, I also watched a lot of other sports with my dad too. We love basketball, we love baseball. I've been to the College World Series with him. Went the last time it was Rosenblatt. So I have a lot of really great memories with people. So when I got to Clemson, I was like, well, I can't play football, and I'm not playing any sport or being a D1 athlete. So I want to do the next best thing, and I want to write and talk about it.
All
And so
right.
I got into that while I was at Clemson. And originally I thought it was first, when I first got in it, it was, like I said, I wanted to be around college athletics. I just love college sports. It's my happy place. But as time progressed, and it's funny, I was actually thinking about this earlier today, is
Hmm.
that I just love being able to tell people's stories. I think because in a world where there's so much bad and division, I feel like sports is a place where a lot of people can come and connect, and also,
Yep.
get more positive things than negative things. Um,
Absolutely.
so that's another reason why I love it, is because I'm not one for I mean, you always are going to have like rivalries and arguments and different things like that, but I feel like overall sports is something that brings people together. Like what was it, the Miami and Cal game, and how at college game day, all the game day signs that they had, and it's like two play like fan bases that can be very different, but we're all in the same place for the same
Right.
reason.
Right.
So I just really enjoy, one, the unity that it brings, and then also I love being able to tell people stories, which is why I love sideline reporting so much. Love color commentating. I like being able to do the kind of broadcasting that's not just stats and performance. I really love, like I said, finding out, when I did the Virginia game, a guy, this is going to be bad, I can't remember his name, but he came from Harvard. He's a tight end. I
Okay.
cannot remember his name. That's so bad. So I did a story on him, but he had grown up his whole life with a lot of medical issues, and just being able to tell that story of how he overcame that and is now, like one of the best tight ends in the country. So those are the kind of things that I really enjoy in sports, is being able to showcase the athletes in a way that's more than just how they perform on the field. And maybe it's growing up with a dad where I got to hear all the behind the scenes stories, um,
Sure.
of what it was like to be a college athlete, which I know obviously it was very different back in the 80s than it is now. Um, but I always loved hearing like these behind the scenes stories of these just like stellar, high profile athletes. And it's like, they're humans too. They wake up and put their socks on one foot at a time, just like we do. Um,
Sure do.
so I really like being able to show people, like, yes, these people are high profile, but also they are human just like us, and they have stories to tell as well.
Absolutely. Shout out to your dad for being on the Clemson national back in the 80s. That's what's up. I love that.
Yeah, he's pretty cool, all American.
Absolutely, that's what's up. And also, absolutely right. Storytelling is what we love to do. That's why I wanted to get involved with journalism, being able to be a pillar in my community, being able to be an advocate, being able to be on the sidelines, talk to different people, just create those relationships with those sources and coaches and players. And like you said, get to know them beyond the scope of just the field. You talk about that Miami Cal game. That was a wild game. That was crazy.
Yes, it was.
No question about it. I definitely one of the games of the year and one of the biggest comebacks of the season. No question about it, by the Hurricanes. I want to ask you because obviously with your dad going to Clemson, you also chose to go to Clemson. I'm not sure if you're from South Carolina. I do hear a little bit of twang in your voice. So I'm thinking you are definitely from the South. But let me know. Were there any other schools that you were considering other than Clemson University?
So I am from South Carolina, and this is a kind of a funny story. When I was 6 years old and I made my first 100 on a test, I took it home to my parents and I said that was my first 100 to getting into Clemson. So I always, it's kind of funny because when I first went to Clemson, wasn't originally sports communication. I knew I wanted to at least be involved with the athletic department, but I was like a packaging science major and was gonna, I think, try to go be like a dermatologist. Then I almost failed freshman biology, and I was like, maybe this is not the path for me. But I was
Mm,
working in athletics and I liked it, and so that's why I originally got into it. I didn't know if it was going to be a long-term career, but when I first got to college, I was like, since I can't play sports, I still want to be involved in some way. Um, and so then after, like I said, my first semester not doing too well in biology, I was like, well, I really like working with athletics. I've always loved it. Maybe this could be something that I could make into a career. Um,
sure.
so I did apply to one other college though. I applied to Auburn. I joked, I was like, well, if Clemson won't let me in, Auburn is pretty much just like Clemson without a lake, and the
Right.
navy blue and orange would just have to do instead of purple and orange. But my heart was set
Right.
going to Clemson.
Okay. I've definitely been to Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn when I was at my time down there in Atlanta, Georgia. Pretty much, I'm a UGA fan. I know the,
No.
I know it, I know it. But I've done so many of those games for like security, and I
Hmm.
remember going and being younger, going to watch Stafford and AJ Green play on the UGA team, and then Moreno, Gurley, and just all those players, right? And obviously, I was the biggest Clemson fan when y'all knocked off Alabama in the national championship. I was so big. I was like, thank you for doing that. So that had to be amazing to see that as well. Being a lifelong Clemson fan as well. So yeah, I totally understand why you wanted to do Clemson and Auburn too. Both of those are Southern schools, and
Hmm.
totally get that. And I love South Carolina. By the way, y'all got some good barbecue.
Yes,
Good
we do. I'm
barbecue.
so glad you say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big
Yes,
debate.
good. No, no, to me it's not. It is not a big debate at all. I love the barbecue there. I've been to a couple Clemson games, did security for them, but I've also been to the University of South Carolina as well. And
Mhm.
they have very good. Y'all have very good in Greenville, and I believe y'all city. What's the city that Clemson's in again?
It's in Clemson.
It's in Clemson, Clemson,
But
South
there's
Carolina.
Yeah, but there's a couple that are right around it. Like there's a place called Smokin' Pig that everybody goes to when they're there. And I want to say it's technically in Pendleton, South Carolina, not
Yes,
Clemson.
yes, absolutely. That's what I remember. Okay, so yeah, okay, I got you. That's what's up. I like that. Let me ask you some favorite questions,
Okay.
and you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Are you with me?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Oh goodness. Well, I'm not much of a cook, but
Oh,
I will say this is probably going to be very basic. Probably
mm,
spaghetti because I never seem to mess it up, and it usually is pretty consistent and it's really easy.
yeah.
And I can make
Yeah.
a lot of it, and then I have lunch for like 4 days. So,
Wow. Yeah, Joanne, it don't get much more basic than that. I mean, macaroni and cheese might be a little easier to make. I mean, that's for sure. But I
working,
am not.
I'm
I'm,
working on.
I get it. I totally get it. I'm not hating on spaghetti though, because spaghetti is very good. You can cook it, like you said, it lasts for days. You can have maybe some biscuits with it, croissant rolls, or some garlic bread. You can have either or with some
Yeah.
spaghetti. I'm a huge tacos person, so I love tacos and chicken, so I can do that pretty good. That's
Well,
for
that's
sure. Okay. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
I recently it was in Colombia, and it was Wetzel and Treaty Oak Revival. And I think the reason it was so much fun is because I had just discovered Treaty Oak Revival via TikTok, which seems to be where I get all of my music taste these days.
Mm,
So I'm usually not one that's into recent music, but I guess just because it pops up on TikTok, I'm actually like in the know now. Um,
mm.
and so it was really awesome that I liked the opener and the main act because I feel like usually, you just go for the main act and then, you just are like bebopping around during the opening act. And now Trio Revival might be my favorite band at the moment.
Yeah. Fun fact on that, Joanne. I have not heard of either one of those bands or groups. I have not
Okay,
heard.
you gotta go look it up. It's like hard rock meets country. Like
Hmm.
that's the vibe we're going for. Like it's guitar, but it's country at the same time. So I really like it. And a lot of people around here do. So yeah, I highly recommend.
Okay, I would definitely get back to you on my thoughts on listening to those. And I do like me some country music. Being in Atlanta, Georgia for many years.
Who do you like?
Um, well, I would say Florida Georgia Line is definitely somebody who I love.
Mm-hmm.
I also love, um, I would say Morgan Wallen,
Yeah.
uh, Luke Combs.
Love
Uh,
Luke.
yeah, Luke Combs. Luke Combs is one of my favorites. Woman wise, Casey Musgraves is not
Mhm.
bad. And then Carrie Underwood, she's a legend. I mean, she's just
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yes, she is.
So those particular ones. I mean, my first country concert I ever went to was Luke Bryan, Jason
Wait,
Aldean.
first concert I ever went to ever was a Luke Bryan concert.
Yeah, Luke Bryan. Yeah, it was at Sanford Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So they had packed out the stadium. It was like 90,000 people that was there.
Oh
I
wow.
mean, every seat was packed. Plus, they had seats on the field. It was crazy, and I was actually doing security for the concert. So I didn't know who these people were. To be
Yeah.
honest with you, Joanne, I had no idea because I'm R&B, hip hop,
Mhm.
rock. Yeah, but country, I was like, I don't know much about it. So then Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, Brantley Gilbert was at this concert. And there was somebody else as well. I forget the fourth member, but I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to be able to see, these artists. And the first song that Luke Bryan did was the Shake It For Me, the Shake It For Me girl song. And I'm seeing women going nuts about this song. They're going absolutely crazy over Luke Bryan. I'm like, what is going on? Like, why are they're hollering and yelling and somebody threw their drawers up on the stage. I was like, what is going on? I was like, this is crazy. At a country concert? I was like, what the hell is this? But
Funny.
it was a pretty good time. It was a pretty good time though. Pretty good vibe.
Sorry to be moving my phone. I wanted to do this on my laptop, but I couldn't find my charger. So I was like, it's a safer bet to do it on my phone. But I feel
All
like
right.
a thing.
You're totally fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. My next question is favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Ooh. I want to say probably Boston.
Okay.
First, not to make literally everything about Clemson football, but for some reason, my dad always wanted the away game that we always went to was Boston College because we would go in, we'd fly Thursday night. There was a direct flight out of Myrtle Beach. So we
Mm-hmm.
would fly in Thursday night, do stuff in Boston on Saturday, go to the game on Sunday, come home, or Saturday and come home on Sunday. And that city is just so cool, so clean, so historic, really pretty. Um, I feel like I don't have one bad thing to say about Boston. So I think that'd be
Wow.
the place I
Well,
went.
now, see, that's very interesting. Wow. I mean, not to say that to go to Boston, because I've never been to Boston, and that's one of my cities that's on my bucket list to go to. But I'm like, wow, Boston College. Now, Georgia Tech is like right down the road from you guys. There's
I
another ACC.
I went as a student, just me and some of my friends. But
Sure.
I don't know why my dad's like, yeah, we're gonna go to the Boston College game. I guess just because I don't know. I guess because it was an easy flight and we could go see somewhere that because we had been to Atlanta before to go to the
Mhm.
aquarium and the Coke Museum and all of that good stuff. So
Absolutely.
maybe he just wanted us to see something new.
I get it. I feel that. I would say my favorite place was Cabo San Lucas before a month and a half ago, and now it's Jamaica. I recently went on a cruise
Ooh.
and went to Mexico, the Cayman Islands, the Bahamas, and Jamaica was another stop, and that's now my favorite place. Especially since I got my passport now, so now I'm going to be traveling to different places because I love to travel. It's one of my favorite.
That's awesome. Do you have any trips planned anytime soon?
Yes. Funny you asked that, Joanne. But yes, absolutely I do. Next June, I'm going to be going to Greece. So yeah, I'm
I'm
going to go to
so
Greece.
jealous.
Yeah. Well, no, no, no. Listen, I'm a huge traveler. Like I definitely set it up because I was when I got off the cruise, Joanne, it was like one of the best experiences I've ever been on in my life. Like just the jacuzzi, the eating, the events, the
I love
different places
cruising.
we ported. It was amazing. Um, and my dad, he's the one that set it up. He's the one that set it up for my dad's side of the family, and it was just crazy. I was like, "Yo, this is dope." So I wanted to do something again. So I'm going to be going with I'm actually it's a solo trip, but I am going to be going with others. That's going to be there, and I'm going to Greece for about a week next June. I'm looking to go to Boston as well next in the fall, next fall, because I want to be able to see all the sports. I want to touch all the sports. I want to see the Celtics, the Red Sox, the Bruins. I want to see all of them. So I'm planning that trip too. Plus, my uncle is a huge Boston Celtics fan.
Okay, awesome.
So yes, I definitely want to be able to do that for sure. Um, I'm a sports person. You're a sports person. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV. Favorite sport you like to attend in person. They can be the same sport.
Mm. I will say, I think to watch on TV, I actually like basketball the
Yeah.
best. I think
Hmm.
just because it's fast paced. Um, I don't know. I love college basketball. I pretty much worked like every home game when I was at Clemson. And then to attend, definitely football. I think just the pageantry, I think especially because you have less games, so each one means more than, not to say that like basketball and baseball games don't matter, but there's so many, so not every single one of them um, has like so many people and has made such a big deal. And I think especially in the South, you have tailgating. The Clemson Carolina game, we were
Oh
literally
boy.
out there at 8 a.m. for
Oh
this
boy.
noon game. And also, it just because for me as well, when I go to Clemson games, I get to see um, a lot of people that I went to college with that I don't normally see, or just it's a big like social hour. And so I love to, and also it's really special for me and my dad to attend them together. That's just always been our thing, is we are always the ones going to games and sitting together, and he always talks to me like he's coaching the game. It's like he's watching film. So my dad is not, even though he went to Clemson, played football at Clemson, he's not up hoop and hollering, none of that. It's like a coach watching film, and he's like, oh well, this is what I would have done, and he's like, oh, this is what, and so he's like teaching me basically the whole game.
I
um
love it. I
so
love that.
where it's funny because basketball, he's the complete opposite. He is up hooping and hollering, his whole mood is like destroyed for the day, which I think is so funny. I'm like, he played football, you think it would matter more, but I think because he played and he coached, it makes his mindset different than he didn't play basketball. He's always just watched it. So he hasn't ever had that perspective. Um so yeah, that's, I would say, in person football, watching on TV basketball.
Definitely the reverse, same sport, but definitely reverse for me. I definitely would like to see basketball in person. The only reason for me is because it seems like when I do football in person, they look so miniature on the field, and I'm not very close. My seats are not very close. Like football stadiums would seat 70, 80,000 people, even if
All
not.
right. And if you're
Uh,
at the very top, like I sat at the very tip top of Texas A&M Stadium, like I could
Lord,
have reached my hand up and just touched a jet that came by. I was up there with Jesus.
yes,
So,
you would. Yes, you would.
which I
Oh
mean,
my
I was
goodness.
thankful to be able to say like, oh, I got to be in Texas A&M Stadium. But you're right, it looks like little tiny chess pieces moving around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, football definitely on TV. I love it. I love the way that they play on football. And I wouldn't mind watching college football in person myself because UGA games was amazing. Going there, seeing those. I was at Jordan Hare when they threw the prayer from Jordan Hare for UGA and Auburn. If you remember the 4th and 18 play,
Mm-hmm.
that I'll never forget. Or the Juwan Jennings Tennessee touchdown throw that happened with UGA. I'll never forget that either. So those are just iconic moments that you know and you share within that. I want to ask you though, because you know Cooper Flag plays for Duke. Is there any way that you're going to go see Clemson and Duke basketball game? Because it's a big time game.
So, are you talking about at Clemson or just in general?
Just in general.
So it's actually on my bucket list to go to Duke. I really want to be that's like a I feel like everybody has like bucket list items that they like
Yes.
places that they want to go, and to watch Duke basketball at Duke is definitely on my bucket list.
No question about that. You'll love it, by the way. I got a chance to go to UNC Chapel Hill and go to Cameron indoors. Those Cameron crazies are real. That is a real thing to experience that. They are just but you know what crazy. No question. I think you would love that. I know for me, my bucket list as far as college basketball goes, definitely would see a Final Four. If I could see a Final Four, that would be amazing. I'm planning on going to the Elite Eight, which is actually in Atlanta, Georgia this year. Uh,
Really? That's
yes, it
exciting.
is. Yes, and with my mom and my uncle and my aunt still live in Atlanta, and of course, me having Atlanta ties, going to Kennesaw State University, graduating there. Yeah, that's my plan. My plan is definitely to go there for the weekend. So, um, I'm going to try to make that happen for sure, for sure. So, we'll get to the last favorite before we get to the next question, and that is favorite place that you like to eat at. I'm a huge foodie, so Joanne, you know, whenever I do come back to South Carolina, I'm definitely going to say hello to you, but I definitely want to be able to eat at a good restaurant. That's not barbecue because I know the barbecue's good.
Like I'm guessing you don't mean chain, like something local.
Yeah, something local.
Ooh, oh, I got it. Max Drive-In Clemson. Have you ever heard of it?
No, I have not.
So it has been around forever, like since the 50s. They sell t-shirts downtown with this diner on it. Like it is a Clemson icon. And
Okay.
it is very old-timey. You can only pay in cash. So make sure you take cash with you when you go. You'll see Pat. I know Pat very well because he worked there in high school. And for some reason, back when my dad played sports, that was the place that all of the athletes went.
Okay.
Um, so it was funny when I was going to Clemson and we were at a football game. My dad's like, "Okay, Pat, you got to take care of her." And he was like, "Yeah, Joanne, if you're ever hungry, you can always come here and eat." So you got to get the grilled cheeseburger, and but it's not just like a normal cheeseburger. It's basically like a grilled cheese with like a patty melt, but it's just a grilled cheese with a hamburger patty.
Okay.
French fries, and then I always get sweet tea. They have really good sweet tea, and they also have really good milkshakes. So, and it's in like the old timey like Coke glasses, and also sometimes you'll randomly go in there and you might see like old coaches and old athletes that like still live in the area.
Wow.
And
Okay.
all of the walls are covered with different pictures of different athletes that they've signed and different stuff like that. So it is a Clemson gym, and I just every time I go in there I love it, and I love seeing Pat and how he's doing. So that's what I highly recommend if you're in Clemson, go to Max Drive-In.
Definitely. I'm definitely gonna check that out because I love me some burgers. I love me some shakes. Fun fact again, I just tried sweet tea for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I wasn't too much of a fan. That this particular this sweet tea just was not very good, but it was McDonald's sweet tea. That's what
Okay.
I.
Theirs actually is not that good. And it's funny, my dad never drinks sweet tea ever. But anytime we go to Max Drive-In, he always gets sweet tea. And he's like, I don't know if I actually like it or if it's just nostalgia, but he always gets sweet tea when we go to Max Drive-In.
I would probably get a vanilla shake if they had Oreo, a specialty shake. I would love
Now
that.
I told you it's old time. You get chocolate or vanilla.
I live that. I love that. I can deal
That
with
is
the
your
vanilla
only
shake.
option.
That's what's up. I like that. You said cash only. That makes a whole lot of damn sense. I'm like, oh, okay, this is definitely old fashioned for sure. I love it though. That's amazing. I want to ask you about your day to day.
Okay.
As journalists, you know, we never have the same day to day every day. It's always changing. Every week is changing. I'm sure you're doing different games, different things every single week, right? As a color commentator and a sideline reporter. We also work weird hours. We don't have business type hours of 8 to 4, 9 to 5. That's not what our shift is, and it never really will be our shift in this journalism field. We work long hours at times. We do a lot of work. So I would love for you to tell me your day-to-day schedule of, and maybe you could preface it by a non-game day and then a game day. How do you go about doing your business? Because I'm sure they differentiate a little bit.
So typically Mondays are for just getting ready for the week. Normally there's no games on a Monday, even for like basketball or baseball. I mean, if there is, obviously, then that changes up the week. But just 99% of the time, Mondays is either seeing what games basically just checking my schedule and getting things ready for the week, reaching out to people that I need to reach out to, getting information that I need, scheduling interviews with coaches and athletes, stuff like that. Okay, we'll kind of make up a week. Let's say Tuesday is a basketball game. Normally, I would spend probably Monday afternoon and then Tuesday morning prepping for the game. So that would be anything from just, looking over rosters, making sure I know stats about each athlete. Probably that Monday afternoon or Tuesday morning, I would have talked to both coaches, hopefully, a couple athletes. And then I normally go into games for basketball 2 hours early. So let's just say the game was at like 7. I would go in at 5. Normally the first hour is me just still kind of looking over notes. And then an hour before is when we start to like test things for the broadcast, stuff like that. Do any kind of like pre-recorded things that we want to do, things of that nature, and then do the color commentating. And then a basketball game, however long that lasts, normally around like 2-ish hours. Then I go to the press conference after, and then I go home. And then with Coastal, I've also had the opportunity to start 2 different series, one called Why Coastal and one called Walk and Talks. So also just depending on, those literally vary so much because it is solely dependent on when athletes are available. So normally on Mondays is when I'm like reaching out to the people that are in charge of content, saying like, hey, here are the athletes that I think, we should do for the next show. They'll be like either yay or nay, or here's somebody that we have in mind. Reaching out to the SID, being like, hey, when are they available? So then let's just say someone was available on Wednesday. Then I would shoot those things on that Wednesday, which it seems that most athletes are available on Wednesdays. It's also very weird though for basketball because it was a lot easier during football season because games are just always on Saturday. And so then usually you had all of the weekdays, where with basketball, it's if they have 2 away games in a week, you're probably not going to be able to get them. Where if they have all home, it's a lot easier. So I hate to say day to day. I feel like it's like my whole week is how I kind of look at it. I don't really look at it day to day. I look at it as like, here's the week. Which that may sound kind of weird, but it's kind of just me after getting through like a week of games. It's like in a week of shooting different things, and it's me getting ready for the next week of all of that. So it's like you said, it's really hard to say my day to day because it's literally all over the place depending on when games are, and then like I said, when athletes are available to shoot these things. Because it's not like, for instance, I have a friend, he hosts a show on 105.5 The Roar. So every single day he is doing a show from 9 to 12. So he has that consistency. There is not one thing right now that I do that is consistent where I clock in and like sit down at a desk or do anything like that. So I will say that's a goal, kind of, to hopefully have something maybe more consistent in the future. I mean, I'm not complaining, and I think it's good to get used to working in this business, not necessarily being consistent or
Oh,
having a
absolutely.
consistent schedule.
Yes.
But I will say most of the time, Mondays are just getting ready, and then all the rest of the days are left up to whether it's a game or shooting with the shows. And then basically, when I'm not doing those things, I'm getting ready for those things.
I
So,
feel that. I feel that. I mean, I can imagine, with basketball games being multiple every single week. Do you ever get a chance to travel with the team?
that I don't. I'm working on trying to also do um possibly some other like ESPN Plus opportunities, but as of right now, I don't travel with the teams.
Got you. Because I know, obviously, there's going to be some bowl games coming up. The Belk Bowl, which is always in North Carolina, always. That's somewhat close to what you got to you, I would say. That's just the next state over. I'm thinking that maybe you might want to do one of these bowl games if given the opportunity for sure.
Oh, I definitely would. Funny enough, Coastal is actually playing at the Beach Bowl that is held at Coastal Stadium.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, we're hoping to get something out of that, but super exciting. I know it kind
Yeah.
of is not exactly fun for the players to not get to travel somewhere because last year they went to the Hawaii Bowl. So it's like, how do that's a really cool experience. But it's also kind of nice to have a home field advantage.
Absolutely, no question. I love that. Let's talk about mental health and work-life balance. Obviously, in this industry, mental health is very important in any industry for that nature. Mental health is very important. It's being talked about more, Joanne, more so than ever. And people are leaving the journalism industry because of it, right? Because sometimes the mental health is affected. They're also leaving because of work-life balance. They don't they thought it would be something, and then it turned out to be something else. And the work life balance is just not there, so they decided to leave. I would love to know, how do you balance your work life balance? Because you seem like a wonderful woman to be around, very easy to talk to. I certainly wouldn't mind being around you at all. But you also seem like you work very hard doing what you do as well. So, how do you balance your work life balance, but also keep good mental health to prevent burnout?
So I think one thing you have to take into account is making time for yourself. I
Mhm.
do know it's really hard in this business because you want to take any and every opportunity that comes your way. Um,
Yes,
but sometimes I think not to say no to opportunities, but just to try your best to carve out time for yourself because you can't, I know it's the cheesy saying, but it's like you can't pour into other things if your glass is empty, or your cup is empty. So
right,
I think that also then leads into mental health that if you are taking time to go hang out with a friend or taking time to work out because that's important to you or taking time to do skincare routines, whatever it is for you that you're doing it for yourself because working in this industry you do so much for your career that sometimes you kind of forget about yourself, but you can't do well in your career if yourself isn't good.
hmm,
so
agree.
because I'll admit and maybe I regretted it and maybe I will regret it, but there has been times when not probably like twice in the whole time I've done this where I've said no to things because I had other personal obligations. And so I think Dabo even one time talked about this in one of his press conferences of because he's a great coach in letting his assistant coaches, if they want to go to their kids' baseball game, can go to their kids' baseball games, different stuff like that. Like at the end of the day, like your career is not going to be the one standing beside you on your deathbed. It will be the people you love and the relationships that you make.
Right.
So even though I love this career and you do have to put a lot of time if you even want like a sliver of a chance to, make it big and do well in it.
Absolutely.
It's basically just like being an athlete. You got to practice. The more reps you get, the more times you're right, the more time you do any aspects of journalism is the only way to get better, just like being an athlete.
Without question.
But just the same as with them, you know, and the conversations that have also been had in people who play the sports is just, you know, taking time to check in on yourself, taking time to do things that make you happy outside of, just working. So, like, I always try to make time for working out, and then I also try to make time for hanging out with my friends when I can, because those are two things that fill my cup.
I love it. I love to hear that. It's a question worth asking because a lot of people, Joanne, sometimes they get a misconception and they see the glitz and glamour, right? They see the beautiful lady like yourself in front of the camera, right? Commenting or color commentating. And they want to do that. That's what they want to do, but they don't understand the behind the scenes work of what you put in. Like you just talked about it. You say you prep the night before and the day of. Like I'm sure it's not 15 minutes. I'm sure you're prepping for quite some time to be able to, remember all the stuff that you're trying to remember just in case it comes up. And the funny thing is people don't know just because you're prepping all that stuff doesn't mean you'll use all that stuff on air on that.
Able to roll with the punches of, you might prep a whole story and then
Right.
get there and something else comes up and you gotta just be able to roll with it. But it is funny you talking about prepping. The first time I did sideline reporting for ESPN Plus, my mom comes up to me and she's like, I think you've studied more for this one game than you did your whole 4 years of college.
See,
You're
you're showing
probably
how much you are showing how much you love sports. This is what it is. That's all it is. So I love that. I love mom pointing that out though. This is very true. When you love something, you're gonna study as hard as you can. But
I probably studied like 5 days. It was ridiculous. My brain, I probably knew way more than I needed to know.
right,
But hey,
you
it
can
is way
easily
better to be over prepared than under prepared.
without question, Joanne, without question. And I'm glad that you shared that because people need to know that when you are in this business, it's not just about getting in front of the camera and talking. Like you gotta prep, you gotta have people in your corner to help you out. And like I said, sometimes it's a misconception with glitz and glamour. Like there is
Mhm.
some work to be put in with this for sure. And I love the fact that you mentioned that. But this is also a great segue because you've been removed from college for a few years now, and I would love to hear what kind of advice would you have to somebody who is going to be a college graduate soon, or someone who is maybe a intern with ESPN Plus, or someone who maybe a little bit more seasoned in age, like myself, that just really wants to be in this sports journalism field. What kind of advice would you give them?
One, that it's not going to be easy because I know when I was at Clemson, I was doing some really cool things. I was working in the national championship. I felt like I was on top of the world. And then I get out of college and I become a photog at Fox News, and not my ideal job.
Right.
Um, but someone once told me, they said, if you have a plan B, then this is not the job for you.
Hmm.
So, I mean, as silly as it may sound, like, you have to put your heart and soul into this. Like I said, we are just as the same as athletes. Like, you're not going to make it to the pros by practicing once a week and, just showing up. Now, I mean, I will say there are some people that just have, God given ability. But for the other 99.9% of us, it's a lot of dedication and a lot of work. But
Right. No
also
question.
with that is, no opportunity is too small. I will admit there were times where I was like, oh, like, I go to Clemson. Why would I want to do that? Or, oh, I'm not doing radio. I want to be on TV.
Right.
Any rep you can get is so, anytime you can be, especially live, is so valuable. And I didn't realize that until probably a couple years after college. Um, so you kind of just have to like swallow your pride and realize, you can't climb the ladder if you're not on it. So even if you can get on it any way you can, like, that's what you got to do. Um, So my two biggest pieces of advice is no, this is not going to be easy. Like if you're not willing to put all your time, all your effort, and also realize that you're going to miss out on things. Like, for instance, when I was in college, I worked high school football on Friday nights. So while everybody else was going downtown, having fun, I
Yep.
was working high school football, which
Yep.
I honestly loved it. It was so much fun. I've always loved high school football. Um, Big Friday Night Lights girl, favorite TV show. Fun fact. Um,
Okay. Okay. I love that. I
um,
love it.
so your life is going to look different again, just like how athletes are. I feel like there's so many comparisons to the way our lives are to the way athletes' lives are.
It
Um,
is.
so knowing that, and then also, like I said, knowing that there is no job that is too small or that you should snub. So I think I missed out on a lot of really good opportunities thinking that way. Because like you're not gonna start out being a sideline reporter for college football national championship, like which is literally what I thought when I graduated, which I mean, great for me for having the confidence, but you
Sure.
also
Sure.
have to be realistic. That it takes time, it takes practice, it takes perfecting your skill and your craft. So any way that you can do that, um, take it.
I love that. I love that advice. I do. Because again, we just talked about misconceptions sometimes. But when you are in this business, you should take every rep that you can possibly get. The more reps you get, the better you are. That's with anything that you practice. Anything you practice, you're going to get better at it. I do feel at times, especially people that I talk to, especially my young boys, young girls, because I also substitute teach, Joanne. So I'm a substitute teacher as well. So
Awesome.
yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So what I like to tell my young boys and girls is when they're asked me about journalism is to try everything.
Mm-hmm.
Want you to try everything that you possibly can. And I substitute teach mainly high school and sometimes middle, but the high schoolers and the college kids, I tell them try everything, direct, edit, radio, write, produce, get in front of the camera, all the above. Try it all because you find out what you like and you find out what you don't like in the world of journalism. There's so many different jobs out there that people don't even know about that consist of journalism. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely the second thing that I normally tell them is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they ask me, "What do you mean by that?" Well, what I mean is when you're being comfortable, being uncomfortable is in life you're going to meet people, you're going to do assignments, you're going to have all different kind of things in life where they're going to present uncomfortableness to you. It's just not going to be a comfortable situation. But if you can turn uncomfortable into a comfort, it really hardens your character, and it allows you to deal with difficult situations. In this
Mm-hmm.
business, you definitely deal with difficult situations. Whether I've had colleagues, especially women, where I have seen the differential of treatment at times, and I've had to address it. There's been times where I've covered section championships and, excuse me, state championships in basketball and football, and I don't see any women around. I don't see no
Mm-hmm.
photographers, don't see any journalists, don't see anything, and that's tough to do. That's tough to be around that because it's like, man, they don't have an opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, but that's just difficult. But again, um, I want to be an advocate for that. I want to see more women in sports, and not just in sports, but in hierarchy positions in sports, where they're being sports editors and they're being in leadership positions and they're covering games. Like I love to see more women do what you do, because it just enhances our game. It enhances sports. I mean, men are not the only one watching sports here. I mean, women to watch sports as well. Women love sports. They're
Yeah.
the only ones that watch or play it. So I try to give that advice off a lot. To let them know that if this is something that you really want to do, like you said, you got to do it with your heart and do it for the right reasons. You can't do it for the wrong ones because they will weed you out in this business.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All
I
right.
I agree. I agree.
I love that. That's awesome. We have came to the portion of the podcast now that we're going to do this or that. It's an interactive game, Joanne, that I
Okay.
normally play with my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. So basically, what I do is I throw out some things and you get to choose this or that. So,
Okay.
Joanne, are you with me?
Hmm. Ready.
Okay, here we go. Now, we've been vibing all podcasts long, so let's make sure we keep this thing going. Okay, so here we go. Which chicken place, if you had to choose one to eat at, which one you going to? Popeyes or KFC?
KFC.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. When it comes to chicken wings, which flavor are you choosing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Neither.
Oh no. You don't like either sauce?
I mean, I'll do like lemon pepper. It depends on the. I don't really like ketchup-based barbecue sauce. So maybe if it's just like a grilled wing that has like a vinegar kind of barbecue on it, maybe. I'm more of a like buffalo sauce on my wings, so
No. So you like it hot, is what you're saying.
just a little bit, a little spicy.
Okay, I like it a little spicy too. I do. I ain't gonna cap on that, but but for the purposes of this, you'll say lemon pepper.
Yes, I'll say lemon pepper.
Okay, here we go. Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Mm, dry.
Okay. Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Okay, boneless chicken wings are just chicken nuggets, in my opinion, but I'll say bone in.
So there's a lot of people on this platform that have said that, and listen, this is what I say: if it's on the plate, would your ass eat it? Yes or no?
I mean, yeah, I would eat it. I just somebody along the way said we're gonna take our chicken nuggets and we're gonna say they're boneless wings and we're gonna charge more for them. Which I mean, good on them for the marketing, but that's my opinion on boneless wings.
And I feel you on that. I do. And by the way, buffalo would be a sauce that I would absolutely love. I would love buffalo. That's for sure. I want to ask you these next 5 questions, and that has to do with music concerts you rather go to. So the first music concert is, which music concert would you rather go to? Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick Lamar.
Girl, you on point like a period. I like that. I like that right now. Here we go. Let's keep it going. Which music concert would you rather go to? Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs?
Luke Combs.
Okay, I like that. Which music concert would you rather go to? Lady A or Zach Brown Band?
Zach Brown band.
You got some good music taste, girl. I like that. Here we go. We're gonna go with another one. Which music concert would you rather go to? Chris Brown or Usher?
Chris Brown.
Okay, I like that. All right. Last one of the music. Which music artist would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Carrie Underwood or would you rather go see Casey Musgraves?
Carrie Underwood.
I like how decisive you are, Joanne. Wow, look at you. Okay, I like that. Okay. Do you like desserts?
I do.
Okay, so I'm about to name 4 categories of desserts. You have to choose one of these that you will never eat again. So are you with me?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. First one is ice cream. The second one is cookies. The third one is cake slash pies. The last one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of?
Probably cake.
Are you
That's it.
sure?
Yeah, cake and pies is what I'm getting rid of.
Okay. Now, what is your favorite ice cream?
I love chocolate, but I also really like Half Baked by Ben and Jerry's because it has brownie pieces and cookie dough pieces.
Of course. I mean, that's the best damn ice cream
I love Ben and Jerry's. I used to just sit
ever.
in college and eat like a whole pint while watching TV. It was so bad.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Now if they didn't have half baked, I would have went with cookies and cream because
I
that's
just
my favorite.
can't go wrong with cookies and cream.
Absolutely, no question. Okay, do you like potato chips?
I love potato chips.
Okay, so same format. I'm gonna name 4 brands. You got to choose one of these that you'll never eat again. So here we go. First brand up is Pringles. The second brand is Lay's. The third brand is Ruffles. The fourth brand is Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Easy money, Ruffles. I don't like
Oh,
Ruffles.
oh, hell no. No, you did not say easy money on that too.
The only time Ruffles are okay is if you're dipping it in hell of a good dip, but other than that, no.
Oh my Lord. Oh, Joanne. I mean, listen, well, you was the bomb.com until that answer. We can't have it all. I understand. The greatest chip ever made is sour cream and cheddar ruffles. Now, let me ask you this. Are you a salt and vinegar person?
Not really. I do like Cape Cod, that like specific brand of salt and vinegar, but I don't like Lay's salt and
So
vinegar.
so so what is your favorite chip? Let me guess. Is it spicy?
It's not spicy. I don't think
Oh,
it's
okay. What's your favorite chip?
mesquite barbecue kettle cooked by Lay's.
Why they gotta have all them names? Mesquite, kettle cooked, and barbecue. Why they gotta have all them names, Joanne?
I don't know, make things difficult.
I understand. That's okay. That's all right. Listen, we can't have it all, but we gonna do this. How about this? Which sport would you rather play? Bowling or badminton?
Bowling.
Are you good? Are you a good bowler?
I'm okay. I'm not gonna always get it in the gutter, but I wouldn't say I'm good. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, so you say you're okay. So, what's your average? Like 100 pins?
Oh gosh, I have no idea. I haven't played or gone bowling in so long. I just know that I do usually enjoy it when I go.
Okay, that's good. Do you need the bumpers? That's all I need to know.
Not as of recent, which recent is however long ago, but I think I'm okay now as an adult.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Now, which sport would you rather watch on TV? Would you rather watch hockey or baseball?
Hockey.
Okay, I like that. I like that. You did pretty good on this or that, except for the mesquite Lay's barbecue kettle cook corn chips that you picked out to eat.
Listen, if I'm one for however many, I think I'm okay.
Yeah, I think you're doing excellent. You are absolutely amazing. There's no question about that. I always ask journalists this question, and that is, if it wasn't journalism, the career that you have chosen that you wanted to do, what career path would you have went down and why?
Um, maybe be a flight attendant.
Oh, I can definitely see that. I can see you doing that.
One, because I would still get to yap my jaws, since I love to talk. Um, and two, it'd be really cool to just see a bunch of different places and then also get to fly for free. So, and also I like things that aren't your typical just sit at a desk or sit in front of a computer. Like I could never just do like a work from home job. I think I would go crazy. I need
Uh,
people,
yeah.
I need to leave, I need to be moving and going and doing. So I'd be doing a lot of that if I was a flight attendant.
Yeah, I can certainly see you up there unsnapping the seatbelt, pulling the seatbelt, putting the mask over yourself, prior to us flying and giving those instructions on the intercom. I could certainly see that. That's for sure. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. I would say theater for me. I love theater.
Oh,
I love plays.
I
I love musicals too. So yeah, I love musicals, love
have,
plays. So I play theater.
have you gone to see Wicked?
I have not yet, but I do plan on going to see it next Tuesday.
It's really good. You're gonna love
Is
it.
it? Okay. Okay. I know it's really long, but I remember the play being really long as well. So I have seen the play. I just want Ariana Grande to do it justice. That's all I wanted to do. And you're telling me she did. So
Oh
I'm
yes,
excited.
played that role so well.
Okay. Okay. Are you a musical buff too?
No, I just had a mom and a brother who loved musicals. So I grew up going to a lot of them and like my mom was part of like my hometown's little theater. So I got pushed into a lot of plays. But I
Mm.
honestly do enjoy watching plays, and I like plays more than musicals though. But I will say I've always loved Wicked. Wicked has always held a special place in my heart, just probably because I love the Wizard of Oz, and I've always thought it was so cool to have the whole backstory behind all of it.
Right, absolutely. I'm a huge Wicked fan. It's definitely my top three. I would say Hamilton and Hairspray round out that top three. But yeah, huge in musicals. I just think so much talent in singing and acting as well. So I love that. I want to talk a little bit of college football playoff with you.
Okay.
Uh, Now there's been a little bit of obviously it was a little bit of controversy as was expected. Controversy happens almost damn near every year with the college football, whether it's 4 teams, 8 teams, 12 teams, whatever. Now your Clemson Tigers slipped in there in 12. I wouldn't say slipped because they had an automatic bid because they won the ACC. But a lot of people thought Bama should have been in it. Me personally, I thought the committee got it right because I said to myself, you cannot have two 3-loss teams in the CFP. You just can't have it. Bama's loss to OU did them in. Talk to me about what you thought about the committee's decision of putting those 12 teams in and the placement of your Clemson Tigers.
Um, I think Clemson's placement was right where it needed to be, like you said. We literally went from Saturday losing to our rival, not going probably anywhere, probably some regular old bowl game, to seeing Miami lose, going to the ACC championship, winning it by a walk-off field goal.
You did.
That was the right placement. As far as Alabama, I'm sorry, you cannot lose to 2 6-6 teams, in my opinion, and still make the playoffs. Especially their loss to OU, because it wasn't just them losing like last minute. Like it was what, like 24-3, I think was the final score.
It
So
was.
you're going to tell me you can't even score a touchdown against a team that barely had a winning record? Like, come on, you can't be in the playoffs, in my opinion. And also, I think putting SMU in really sent a good message of that they honor people still making their conference championships. Especially, it's not like SMU lost by a lot. They lost, obviously, last minute. Because I think if they wouldn't have put SMU in, that could have caused a lot of chaos in the sense of people being like, hey, I'm already in the playoff. Like, why should I go to my conference championship?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was really smart of them. And I've heard a lot of people say this, so this isn't a new thought. I do think one thing that needs to change is that the 4 teams that get a bye just need to be the top 4 teams, not how they did it this year. Yeah, there we go. The top 4 conference champions. Because as of right now, I don't think the 4 teams that are getting the bye necessarily, I don't like to use the word deserve, but should be getting a bye as compared to some of the other teams that made the playoffs. So I think that's something they'll change next year, because I know when I was watching the selection show, a lot of the people on ESPN were saying the same thing. And I think that's one thing most people agree upon. So overall, I was actually surprised. So I feel like every year I'm always mad about some selection. And I actually wasn't mad about any of the selections this year. So I thought the committee did a really good job with honoring the things that they should honor. And I also thought they did a good job with where they placed people. So overall, good job.
Yeah, I thought the 12 teams got the 12 teams right. The one thing that I do agree with you on is I don't know how you have Arizona State move up that many spots. That is a lot of spots for them to move up because they was not in the playoff last week, and they skyrocketed, boom, up to 4
Well,
from
see,
being
that
out.
is kind of weird about the winning your conference championship and then, automatically getting in. And I
Right.
guess because they decided that they are the ones getting the bye, that's why they skyrocketed. So the whole ranking system is kind of weird, because it's not like, I feel like it's not actually where they would rank them. It's just where they happen to place them on the like actual bracket of the playoff. And so because that is why they maybe get the ranking that they do. I do think maybe that's something to think about going forward, is just how they plan to rank people. I guess maybe at the end of the day, the rankings, like for the playoff at least, don't exactly matter, as long as you know like your place where you should properly be placed and get the home game or get the bye. Then it would matter. But like, I mean, Clemson being, unless, wait, what are the teams that get what is it, five, six, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the ones that get the home game.
The home game. Yeah.
So being 5, 6, 7, and 8 matters, and then obviously being the people that get buys matters. But other than that, like the rankings, if you're playing away but you're still in the playoff, like you're still just playing away and being in the playoff. So I think there's some things obviously that will need to be tweaked, but it's the first year and there's always going to be growing pains.
It is, and listen, last year to me was definitely egregious when they kept a 13-0 Florida State team out of the playoffs.
I don't think Florida State will ever forget that.
That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe that what I was seeing with that. This particular year, I do think Clemson was deserving to get in. There was a lot of discussion of, well, you got to look at who Clemson played because the ACC wasn't tough, and it wasn't. It wasn't as tough as the SEC. It's not going to be as tough as the SEC. The SEC is always going to be the toughest conference, in my opinion. But if you look at the Bama losses and you look at the Clemson losses, like Clemson lost to Georgia bad. Yeah, but Georgia won the SEC. And then they were the number 5 team in the nation. That wasn't a bad loss for Clemson. It wasn't. And Clemson did have South Carolina. South Carolina won 6 straight games to close their season. So a much better team than the earlier season South Carolina. And yes, they did lose at home. I totally get that. But all those losses Clemson had are negated because if you win your conference, they're negated because you have the automatic bid. And I just think that for me, Arizona State jumping up that many spots was crazy. Notre Dame should have definitely been in the top 4. You can't punish them for being an independent. It is what it is. They're 11-1.
See, I disagree. I think they should get punished for being an independent. Join a conference.
Okay. So who would you put at
I will
that?
die on that hill.
Who would you put at that 4th spot then? Notre Dame was 5th. So who would you put at the 4th spot outside of Arizona State?
Trying to think. Don't think you can do Texas. They lost to Georgia.
Absolutely not.
Can't do Penn State.
Can't do Ohio State. You can't do Tennessee. Both of them have 2 losses. Notre Dame only has 1.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right that they shouldn't be penalized in that sense, but I don't know.
But I do agree they should join the ACC. I thought they were going to join the ACC.
Maybe moving forward, but this year I don't think that, because I mean, what was it, the best? This is what happens when I try to talk at 10:30 at night. The 4 best conference champion winners. There we go.
Sure.
But maybe moving forward, it would be a little bit different if it's just the straight out the 4 best teams. So we'll see. I think eventually they're gonna get the memo and hopefully join a conference, but we'll see. Notre Dame is also Notre Dame, so you know they are their own thing.
They are, no question. And so, lastly, I want to ask you about this before I move to the next question. What do you think about your chances against that Texas team? Now, mind you, Texas has only lost against 1 team all season. They're 11-0 against everybody else, and that's Georgia. However, if you look at Texas' schedule, they really didn't play anybody of significance else on the schedule. Like they blew out Oklahoma, they blew out Michigan. We know how those teams turned out. So they didn't really play anybody else. So what do you think about your chances of upsetting Texas?
I think if the best version of Clemson shows up, they have a really good chance of winning. If Cade is clicking like he's been clicking for the past couple games. I also think Texas has a little bit of a problem with running the ball consistently, so that might be on in our favor. Um, but I really don't know. Um, like I said, I think it's just gonna comes down to who really just shows up better. Because when you have two teams, because I feel like we're pretty evenly matched. It's not like one is like way head and shoulders above the other. In
No,
my
so
opinion. So I think honestly, it's just gonna come down to like who shows up, who's more disciplined, who's not turning over the ball, those kind of things, the little things.
yeah, Cade is going to have to be more consistent. That's the problem with him in the season. If there was any problem to Vic, he has signs of inconsistency. There's signs where he's really great, and then there's signs where he's just really awful, really bad. And against this Texas defense, this is probably going to be the best defense he has faced
Yeah,
since Georgia. In my opinion,
yeah,
I don't think there's going to be a better defense that he would have faced. Now, South Carolina's defense is good too. Don't get me wrong, but you know you kind of know them. That's a rivalry school. It's rivalry. You play them every year. This is going to be the first time Clemson has finally faced a team like this Texas team, and plus going on the road to Texas. So it should be an interesting game. I'm sure you're going to be glued to the TV to watch that for sure. Um, I want to ask you about advice though.
okay.
What advice would has or not what advice, but what advice has someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
I mentioned it earlier, but the not having a plan B. Because I'll admit when I like first graduated college and I had jobs that I didn't like, I started thinking about other things that I could do. And
Hmm.
I'll actually admit I did real estate for a little bit.
Oh,
um,
wow. Okay.
and I came back into sports because I realized I was like, I don't want to be 45 and um having regrets that I didn't chase my dream. And honestly, I think it was good for me because it showed me just how much this career means to me. So I think when things get tough, instead of trying to look for a plan B, just look for other opportunities within the same career, or go to those people that you trust that have advice um to encourage you. Like, I have one friend who we've worked in this industry together for a long time, and the other day I was really discouraged and I texted him and I was like, if I ever say that I want to quit, I need you to like come through the phone and tell me I'm not allowed to quit. So I think it's good to
Okay.
somebody that's an accountability partner. Because it can get really, discouraging at times where you think you're not going to make it. Is all of this worth it? Yada yada yada. So I think that guy telling like that rings in my ears anytime I'm discouraged. It's like, okay, we're not going to have a plan B. We're gonna make this work. We're not going to have a plan B. We're going to make this work.
I love that. Not have a plan B. Yeah. I mean, put all your eggs in the basket and go for it. Why not?
Which I know that sounds silly. Everybody says don't do that, but I feel like in this career, like you got to give it your all.
Absolutely. No, 100%, 120%. No question. What is a top four of events that you would like to cover in your sports journalistic career? There could be any kind of events, but what is the top four of event that you would like to cover?
Obviously, would love to cover college football national championship.
Okay.
Another thing that would be really cool for me is the Olympics, especially if it was track and or swimming.
Yep.
Because I ran track and I swam. I actually was going to swim at Clemson until they got rid of the swim program when I was in like ninth grade, I think is when they got rid of it. Um,
Mm,
so I think that would be really cool is to cover um, something with swimming and track, especially if it was at the Olympics.
absolutely. Okay. What's two other things that you would like to do?
Oh yeah, two other things. Oh yeah, you did say four. The Masters. Would love to
Oh yeah.
Masters. I
Yeah.
heard that their clubhouse for media is unmatched. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Just probably like the best food, best service, best of everything. Um, so I would say the Masters, and then what's one more? Probably like an lead eight, final four, something with college basketball. Um,
Okay.
So something either like the championship or near the end of the tournament for basketball is what I'd like to cover.
Nah, that's dope. That's pretty dope. I have three of your same four. The only one I would switch out is probably the Masters, and what I would put in there is the Super Bowl.
Uh,
For me,
that is, it's so funny that I don't even mention pro sports, even though I know working in NFL is like everybody's top notch dream. And obviously, if I got like the opportunity, I would never say no. But
right.
even if I'm just working, not even if I'm just, but my goal is just to be working in college athletics. I love, like I said, I love college football and college basketball. And I've covered a track meet before. That was super fun at Clemson. So, but yes, continue about covering the Super Bowl.
No, the Super Bowl is just something I would just love to do. Obviously, watching it many years, I would love to be a media role and just interviewing and asking all those players dope questions, trying to pick a story from that to be able to write up on it. The game itself is going to be amazing because you got two great teams going at it. But yeah, I would love to do that. And the other three, I agree with you. The Olympics, and you mentioned a Elite Eight or Final Four, which is something that I'm pretty I'll be pretty excited about. And then you said a national football as far as championship football game. So yeah, those ones I definitely agree with for sure. And I'm gonna be striving to do that because I love sports with a passion, just like you do, which is a great segue because we are now coming close to the end of the podcast. And this segue is great because it's now going to do some rapid fire. So, what I'm going to do is the first thing that comes to your mind. I'm going to ask you some questions, but the first thing that comes to your mind, you just go ahead and blurt it out for me. Are you with me?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, now, here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Burgers,
Okay. Chicken or ribs?
chicken,
Okay. Pancakes or waffles?
pancakes,
Favorite color?
blue,
Favorite TV show?
Friday Night Lights,
Favorite sports movie?
The Blind Side.
That's a damn good one. That's a good one. Mine's Remember the Titans.
That is a
Favorite,
good
thank you. Favorite alcoholic drink?
margarita.
Ooh, do you have a lot of salt around the rim or just a little bit?
I do tahini. I don't like salt on the rim.
Ooh, you fancy. Okay, tahini. Okay, I know about that. Here we go. Favorite board game?
Monopoly.
Oh, I'm a beast when I get Boardwalk and Park Place. I'm just telling you. I'm a beast when I get both of them now. Favorite card game?
Nines.
Oh boy. Okay. People who play that game is deadly. I know that. Okay. No problem. Spades or dominoes?
Dominoes.
Okay. If you had a choice to choose three people to take on vacation plus yourself, which would mean four, who are the people that you would take and where would you go to vacation?
Probably my three college roommates. The four of us just always have a really good time when we're together. We actually were just together a couple weekends ago.
Okay.
And
Where
probably
would you go?
anywhere tropical because all of us like the beach and like that kind of weather, like to be on boats. Um, so yeah, I would say pretty much anywhere tropical, anywhere that's
Okay.
warm with a beach.
I'm with you on that. I love me some beach and some boats. So you definitely got me intrigued for sure. Um, if you had a choice for three songs or three artists to listen to on repeat and never get tired of, who would those three songs or three artists be?
Three artists would be Jason Aldean.
Okay.
Trying to think of who I've been listening to that I like never Taylor Swift. And then probably either Co Wetzel or Treaty Oak Revival.
Okay, got you on that.
Kind of went all country, except I guess Taylor Swift's not really country anymore.
Yeah, she's not really, but she is good. She's very talented. You got to switch it up sometime. You can't have it straight country. You got to, differentiate a little bit with genres, just a little. Um, so if which player are you choosing? Are you going to choose Deshaun Watson or are you going to choose Taj Boyd? If you had the
Taj,
quarterback, Boyd. Taj Boyd. Wow, look at you. Old school. Okay, I like that. Okay. If you had a choice to choose between these players, which player would you choose? Would you choose a Trevor Lawrence or would you choose CJ Spiller?
CJ Spiller. He's probably my favorite college athlete of like all time. He played when I was like 6 or 7. And I loved watching him play. So
Absolutely, no doubt, no doubt. This next question has to do with journalism. They said, "Hey, you only have to choose one of these to do for the rest of your career, Joanne. Which one are you going to choose? Are you going to choose color commentary or sideline reporting?"
sideline reporting and
You
twice
would.
on Sunday. I'm gonna pick it every day and twice on Sunday. I
Oh,
love
you would. Okay, okay, I like that. I like that. Final one of the rapid fire. This one has to do with desserts. I'm intrigued. Which dessert would you choose? Would you choose a cinnamon roll or would you choose an apple pie?
cinnamon roll.
Girl, we can be besties. I'm with it. I'm with it right now. Okay. Okay, I like that. That's pretty cool. You did great on the rapid fire, Joanne. And this has been a really dope conversation to have with you. Just learning about your background of coming into sports. I mean, from 6 years old, going to the games with dad, all the way to being a Clemson fan, knowing that when you brought home your first 100, talk about you're going to get into Clemson, or that's going to help you get into Clemson, talking about what you do as far as your color commentary, sideline reporting, going to Clemson, sharing your perspective on the college football playoff. And yeah, just being really talented and really good and passionate about what you do. I have an appreciation for you and all journalists in this business. And I really do appreciate you allocating your time to me, especially at this late night of the hour. And as I always do with every guest that I have on here, my final question to you is this: is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
No, I think we covered it all, which is good host to you. It means you ask good questions.
Well, thank you very much, Joanne. And like I said, I'm a new fan of yours. I hope that you continue to do what you love to do. Many blessings towards you. Obviously, when I'm in South Carolina, I'm definitely stopping by to say hi, and I'm definitely getting me a cheeseburger and a shake. That is definitely for sure. So I want you to enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening and week, and you and I would definitely be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chris, and have a good week.
You too.
Bye.